Hi everyone, this is Dina and today is February the 9th. It is Tuesday and I have quite a few things I want to share with you today. I have been very busy. Coco went to see her friend Fred today and I dropped her off about 8 o'clock this morning and she has played so hard she's asleep on the couch now. But she had a fabulous day. And what that gave me was a day to get a lot of things done that I could make a big mess and then clean it up and not worry about Coco eating anything that would harm her. So let's talk about what I did today. I have been stitching Valentine smalls, and today I wanted to go ahead and finish the 4 pieces that I have stitched so far. One I stitched in January for a prompt and then for magazine start, and then the other 3 I have stitched in February, and I'm well on my way to finishing another, but not quite there yet. I'll be working on it later tonight. But I took the time today to stop and fully finish some of these because I want to put them on my mantle and have that Valentine decoration up, because we are going to have company on Valentine's Day, and they're actually getting here tomorrow and they'll be here through Valentine's. So I really wanted to get that decoration up before they got here. I was highly motivated. So today I finished these things. The first one that I stitched was the Valentine Bird, and so I have finished that into a pillow. These things are going to sit on my mantle and amongst other winter looking pieces that are not Christmassy. They just, like for instance, Let It Snow actually has hearts hanging from the scissors. So I can leave that up there and that will look just fine. So this is my Valentine Bird. This is some old vintage lace trim that was my mother's. I had gotten it out of her sewing cabinet after she passed away, and I've just held on to it. And so isn't that a pretty thing to go into a Valentine piece? Something from your mother. This is the backing for my Valentine. I went to Joann's yesterday to get Valentine fabric. They didn't have a single piece of fabric that had hearts on it. Nothing. So I just got my pinks and plums, you know, kind of that cherry color to go with all of my pieces. So you'll see that on all the pillows. So the second pillow I finished was the love tree from the Trilogy. And I decided it was very small, and I decided to make it look a little different and do it this way. So here's the love tree, and I have it very, very plump and, you know, fat. But I took some of the fabric and you know, I have it on the front as well. And then I took some really beautiful pink rickrack that I had in my stash and some little tiny beaded pearls, strings of little tiny pearls, and I hand stitched those on after I sewed the rickrack down. And I just used that seam to whip stitch around each of those pearls on that string so it holds them. But I think that looks very feminine and, you know, looks quite romantic as far as the pinks and reds, and I just think that is an adorable piece. So that's pillow number 2. And then my next one that I'm working on now will be my 3rd pillow. But in the meantime, I had some small picture frames that I could use. So I pulled them out, and there's my love, and it is right at the edge, but it's what I have on hand. I may redo it at a later date, but I think that looks great. You can see it, and it's just right there, but it's not covering it up. Gives it a little bit of an interest. You have to look to see what it is. And then the last one that I framed was in a matching frame to the My Love. I had a little set of these, and I've got about 3 more, I think, left. But here is Loads of Love. And I think that turned out really, really cute. And this will be, you know, able to stand up on my mantle. So I'll have some height, I will have Touch of Black for drama. I'll have the long and low, and this is the low, and then this is another thing for height, you know, because it's tall. So I'm going to go put these on my mantle in a few minutes, but before I did that, I wanted to share them with you. So that's my fully finishing for today. Oh, I've gotten a lot done. I have plenty of fabric left, so I know I can do more Valentine pieces, and if need be, if I need fabric finishes, I've got fabric for that. So now I want to share some other things with you. I have a friend that I talk about quite often named Glow, and she is my friend who lives in Spain, and she had asked me, had I seen the beautiful Stay at Home and Stitch from Brenda Gervais with the Needle and Thread. And I said, I have seen it, it's beautiful. And she said, would you like to sell it together? And I said, yes, I would. So here is my chart. She actually ordered it for me and had it sent to me. So thank you, Glow. You spoiled me rotten. So we're going to start this at some point together, and not sure it'll be this month or next month, but it'll be soon, because we're as soon as she finishes up a couple of her projects and I finish up a couple of mine, I think we'll be ready to add this into our rotation. So I am looking forward to that. So that was Stitchy Kindness. And now I have a section I don't have that often, and that's called Haul. I don't share a lot of what I buy because I'm usually buying thread or a piece of fabric to start something, and I show it to you when I start it. So this is a little new for me. But if you recall, our February festivals are going to be Valentine's through 14th of February, and then Easter through the end of the month. So I had to get some Easter patterns. So my first one is called Easter Babies Berry. It's the Silk Berry collection from Erica Michaels. These are little Easter berry petites. So this is I'll turn it where you can see. It's a little chick hatching out of that egg. Isn't that cute? So precious, so precious. So that's the first one. I haven't even begun to look at fabric. I'm just showing you which ones I hope to get to stitch part of my Easter stitching. This one is called Eggs. It's by Shepherd's Bush. Aren't those colors beautiful? And I think I have the perfect finishing fabric for that. I do. This is from Twin Peak Primitives. So this is my first order with Twin Peak Primitives. And I must say, I think it is beautiful. Time for new beginnings. Isn't that appropriate for this year? But isn't that a beautiful piece? So I've ordered it, received it, and now I'm going to stitch it. And it is a beautiful chart. I just wanted to mention to you that this is really a large print. I won't need any magnification whatsoever to see that. That will be a joy to work on. And then I ordered some hand-dyed threads to go with these patterns that I just shared with you. I don't know which threads go with which piece yet, because I ordered whatever I didn't have in my stash for all three at the same time, because it wasn't that many. But anyway, so there's that part of Easter. Then I have one more I want to share with you, because when I saw this, I went crazy. I just went straight to 1, 2, 3 Stitch, ordered it, kitted it, everything. And this is the Here a Peep, There a Peep by Brenda Gervais. Isn't that beautiful? And I love this oval finish on it. So we'll have to see if I can mimic that. And I got all of the threads. I didn't have a single one. I got them all. My Stitch from Stash budget is going to be, crying under the weight of all that. But anyway, I'm excited about it. I'm sure you can tell. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing my work from today, and I'll wait and show you my stitching probably tomorrow, because I'm going to be working on it a little bit more tonight. But I've got to clean up my craft room because I also did some sewing today. I made Coco 3 more jackets, and I made her a yellow corduroy that has little puppy dog heads on it, little faces. I made her a beautiful pink fleece that has stars on it because she's the star here. And then I made her a white piece, a white jacket that has pink and purple hearts all over them for Valentine's Day. So I got that sewing done today too. So today I've been sewing a lot and finishing a lot, but it felt good. It felt good to get all of that done, and now I'm gonna go arrange it on my mantle and see how it looks, and I'll be ready for my company that'll be here tomorrow. So in the meantime, I hope you guys are enjoying what you're stitching. I hope that you are getting a lot of stitching done. I probably won't over the next 6 days, but whatever I do, I will share with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Good night. Hi everyone, this is Dina, and I'm here to give you a very quick stitching update. It is February the 10th, and I have guests arriving in less than half an hour. But I had to eke out this last finish of my Valentine Smalls. This is one of the All Dressed Up series. It's called Loving You. I'll turn it where you can see it a little bit better. It's a Little House Needleworks pattern, and I am stitching this for a Valentine Small. And I made a decision. I had gotten all of the inside done and had started on the top border, and decided that I really liked the size of it with just that one border. So I thought about it a minute, and then I decided it's mine. I can do it the way I want. And so I finished it up. So here is mine. I think it's precious, and I love the way it turned out. Again, it is on my 32 count Murmur from Picture This Plus, and I have one more piece of this fabric left that I hope to do one more small Valentine's on if I can while my company's here. So I'm going to wrap everything up now and go get dinner started and greet them when they get here. So I'm gonna let you get back to stitching, and I'm gonna get ready to welcome my guest. Happy stitching, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina, and this is my channel about cross stitch. I wanted to come back and talk with you today because for me, it's been quite a while since I've been here. We had company. We had friends in California that got their COVID shots and got tested, and they could not go and visit their children this year in New York City due to the COVID travel restrictions. But they could get to us, and they're a couple that we usually see once a year around Thanksgiving. When they're on their way to see their children, they stop by and spend a few days with us, usually 2 or 3. Well, this year they didn't get to come at Thanksgiving because they weren't going to be able to go visit their children in New York, so we didn't get to see them. But then after they got finished with their shots and my husband and son got theirs and we all got tested, they decided that they were going to come visit us. And even though they couldn't go on and see their kids, they would just stay with us the whole time. So we got a nice long visit with them. They were going to be here 6 days. They got here on the 10th of February, and they were going to stay through the 16th. And we had a great time. We played board games and card games, and we took them to some of our favorite restaurants, 2 or 3, and we cooked. I cooked a lot, and we enjoyed meals here and game night, and just we had a lovely time. And we caught up with each other and, you know, just shared life together for a few days. So on the 15th, the night before they were to leave, they wanted to treat us to a lovely dinner somewhere of our choice, but somewhere very nice. And they wanted to, as their thank you to us, treat us to dinner. And they did. And on the way home from dinner, they got a message from their airline that their flights were canceled. You see, they were going through Austin, Texas to get home. And Austin, Texas is in bad shape with the snow and the power outages. I mean, they've been hit really hard. So our friends' flights were canceled. And they had to stay with us for 2 more days before they could get out and get home. And that's rough on people, you know, when she is still a practicing optometrist, and it took she and her husband about half a day to get in touch with all of her patients and just move them from the 2 days that she was going to be here with us because she couldn't get out. So today, my husband was able to drive them to the airport, and they were able to get back home, and they probably aren't even home yet. It's about 10:30 here, and they probably won't be arriving at their airport until another half hour or so. So they've been traveling all day. So I hope they are home safe and sound very soon, and wish them, you know, safe travels. So what did that do to my stitching? Well, it took a chunk, let me tell you. My friend wouldn't have minded if I had wanted to stitch, but it's because she doesn't stitch, and she really was just going to be sitting here waiting on me. I didn't feel like that was a nice thing to do. So instead, because they're on California time, they're 4 hours earlier than we are. So when I got up at my normal time in the morning, it was quite early for them on their time clock in their body. So I was able to get a little bit of stitching done a couple of mornings or two. And what I did is I just kept one of my whip go pieces out on a stand, and every time I had a few minutes, I stitched on it. And by the 13th of February or so, I hit my whip go goal. This was a January called number 18, and it was my Nativity, and I was to put 10 hours into it. So at the end of January, I had stitched 5.5 hours on it, and by the 13th of February, I had gotten the other 4.5. So let me show you what I've done. I stitched this part of his wing for the angel, and then I came over here and got these 3 parts of the border down to the page break, which is the absolute middle of the piece. And that gave me the 4.5 hours that I needed. So I stopped there because this is a tough piece to work on when you have company or you're talking to someone. It's hard. And so I just put it away, and I'll pick it up again later at another time. But my whip go goal for January is met. Yay! I'll be updating my whip go board and sharing it with you soon because I just want to change the colors on it and everything before I share it with you. So that was all the stitching I got to do while my friends were here until the day they were supposed to leave. They were supposed to leave here. They got here on the 10th, and they were supposed to leave on the 16th. And on the 15th, we went out to eat. They wanted to take us out to dinner to thank us for our hospitality, which was really sweet. Not necessary, but very much appreciated. And on the way home from dinner, they got a message from their airline that their flights had been canceled due to the weather in Austin, Texas, because they were flying through there. They had a layover there, and they couldn't. So all the flights had been canceled that day and the next day. And then they were booked so solid trying to get everybody out of Texas and on their flights that our friends could not leave until today, till about 2:30 today. So when my husband, when we found out about them not being able to leave, my friend looked at me and she said, you know, I know you've put your stitching on the back burner the whole time we've been here. You've done very little stitching, only when we were asleep in the morning. And she said, so if you want to do some stitching, I think you should, you know, because I feel like I'm keeping you from what you were doing. So while she did some work on rescheduling all of her patients, because she's an optometrist and she had to move 2 days worth of patients, I took a little time to have a new start. I had decided, you know, before that we were going to stitch Valentine smalls the first 14 days of February. And then starting on the 15th, we were to stitch Easter. So when my friend said, why don't you stitch some? And this was on the 15th, I said, I think I will. I'm going to start my first Easter piece. So this is my Easter piece that I started. It is a shepherd's bush, and it's called Eggs for Easter, or actually I think it's just called Eggs. But it says Eggs for Easter on the top there. And if you notice, there are several buttons. There are little eggs here and in the basket. There's a chick here, and there are flowers here that are buttons. And there's a little bird right there that's a button. So when I pulled this to kit it up, the first of the month, I ordered the button pack from Shepherd's Bush, and it had arrived while my friends were here. So that's one of the reasons I picked this one first, because I had the button pack and I wanted to see it. I wanted to put it together. So I actually started on it on the 15th, and then on the 16th and 17th, I didn't stitch. Our friends were here. They were here longer than they had planned. We wanted to do something, you know, entertaining and special for them. And so I didn't feel that it would be right for me to come in here and stitch and let them fend for themselves. That would not have been very nice. So once they got all of their business taken care of with changing patient appointments, I felt like I needed to put my stitching aside, and I did. So on the start, I actually stitched only 149 stitches to get started. But today, my friends left this morning to go to the airport. My husband was kind enough to take them and let me stay home to be with our puppy and to kind of get the house back in order. And I did that this morning early. So once I got the guest room sheets all washed and back on the bed and everything clean and did some laundry, I sat down to stitch. I gotta finish. I'm so excited. Let me share this with you. Isn't this precious? This is Eggs by Shepherd's Bush. I'll move that little button a little bit there. Isn't it so precious? I love it, and I think the buttons are so precious. And I will probably, I'm thinking that I will either make a pillow out of this. I don't think I have a frame that will fit it, but I may just make a pillow out of it because I love the way the buttons pop off of it. So now I have a confession to make. There's a huge error in this piece. Oh, I was so devastated when I first saw it and I had to figure out how to fix it. I got my two greens backwards. The light green that you see are the leaves, and the G for the egg, that's supposed to be the darker green. And where you see the darker green in the basket and the stems and the vine, they're supposed to be the lighter green. I don't know why I got the two mixed up. I don't know how I did it, but I did it the whole time. Every time I pulled them, I did them exactly the opposite except one place. and that's in there, in that egg. I think I had found out by then what I had done. So I thought, what am I going to do? You can't hardly see this one. So you see what I did? I couched it. And now you can see it. It pops nicely. So you know what? I'm going to leave it just like it is. I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's pretty. All the right colors are in the piece, even though they might not be in the right spots. The basket looks a little bit darker than it does on the original, which you can see here. See, the basket's the lighter color, and the inside of the G is light where the G is dark. Oh well, it still spells egg. It's still fine, and the buttons are all in the right place. So I'm not going to worry about it. It's for me. It's not for anybody else. And so that's my first Easter piece, and I'm finished with it, and I'm pretty excited about it. So this is a remnant of a piece of fabric that is the 14 count Country French Cafe Mocha. This is the one I did the Christmas piece on, the Holy Night from Shepherd's Bush, and it called for a larger count, and so did this one. I didn't have the 11 count that it called for either piece, so I did it on this 14 count, and you see the buttons do pretty well. They're not perfect, but they're pretty well. So there you have it. Now, my first Easter piece is done. And since I did Easter Peep on my Whip Go, that makes the second new Easter item that I have to put out this year. So now I will have a decision to make. I've got to decide whether I'm going to start working on the February Whip Go goal or whether I'm going to continue working on Easter things. And I'll probably have to let you know when I come back because I don't know right now what I'm going to do. But other than that, I just have one thing to share with you, and then I'm going to call it a night and head to bed. And that is this. While my friends were here, the lady that was here in the couple really enjoys a good thrift shop. And so my husband and I had been looking around to find a thrift shop to take her to while they were here. And we only had one day that wasn't raining. So we got out that day, the four of us, and we went to a thrift shop. I had not ever been there. My husband had never been there before. And so this was our first visit there. We had a grand time. It was a small shop. And I saw a few things there that I thought were really pretty. They had some milk glass china that I have, but I'm not adding to that collection. It was my mom's, and I just have it because I inherited it from her, and I just want to keep it her collection. I'm not adding to it, so I didn't get that. But what I did get were picture frames. You may recall this one right here, the Quiet Please. That picture frame was purchased at a thrift store, and it was actually purchased the last time that this couple came to see us, and we took her to a thrift store then, and I found that frame and I kept it. I thought it was such a unique color, and I brought it home and kept it until I stitched that and thought this will look great with it. And I took it to Michael's and had them frame it for me, and they did in my own frame. They put it together, they put the mat, cut the mat for me and put it together, and it was very affordable. So when I got into this thrift store and I found that they had some really pretty frames in good shape where they didn't have nicks and things in them, I asked what their prices were, and I was so pleasantly surprised. Their larger pieces were $3, and their medium frames were $2. And their small frames were only $1. So I picked out 7 frames for my stash, and I paid 13 bucks for it. Now hopefully I've got to clean them up, but one of the things my friend and I did is we went through all of my kitted up projects that I have that I want to start this coming year. And I looked to see if any of those frames would fit them and look nice with them, and some of them do. I've already earmarked a few, so I'm excited about that. And I've got them stored in my closet and just out of the way so I don't trip over them. But I recommend that to you. I know a lot of you do that already, but if you hadn't thought about it, you know, it's a great way to cut your cost if you want to do some framing. So I just thought I'd share that with you. Well, I'm sorry I've been gone so long. I hope for you it's only been a few seconds. For me, it feels like ages. I've missed floss tube. I have missed talking to you and showing you what I've been working on, and I have really missed my stitching. So I'm looking forward till tomorrow to when I get to start something different and new since I've had a finish today, and I'll be sure and come back and share it with you. And I hope you are safe and happy and well. And I will be catching up with you on floss tube as I stitch tomorrow. Happy stitching, everyone. Good night. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today is February 21st, and I'm here to give you an update on my stitching. It's so good to be back to stitching. I can't say that enough. I decided to go back and pick up one of my Valentine smalls that I had kitted up and had actually put on the scroll frame before our guest arrived, and I was going to stitch it while they were here, and I didn't get to. And I went ahead and switched over to Easter because we were supposed to work on Easter smalls from February 15th to the end of the month. And I finished my first Easter piece, and then I thought, I really wanted to stitch that Valentine's Day. So here's Valentine's Day from Threadworks Primitive. And I did mine on a remnant piece of fabric called Sandcastle. It's 32 count. It is Lagana. And it was just the bottom piece that I had from a project I had done earlier. And so here's my Valentine's Day. And somewhere, in fact, I think I know exactly where, I had to frog out some stitching right here at the corner. And I didn't quite, if you see right here, I didn't quite get all of the stitches frogged that I thought I did. And it threw me off just one stitch all the way around. And when I came up to meet at the border, I had to stitch one extra stitch there. But what really messed me up was in here, I left one of the little fans right here, the little feathers, off of the arrow. And so I was about 2 stitches too far this way. So when that hurt me was right here. It hit the day and it touches right there. But you know what? It's for me. I'm not gonna worry about it. This one will just have that little error in it from now on. My plan is to make this into a pillow. I think it'll make a really pretty pillow. And I want to find the right fabric to go with that. I don't think the pink fabric that I have, that I finished my other Valentine pieces, I don't think that's going to look good with this. So I'm going to look for a different fabric for that. But that's my latest finish. Okay. Well, that's all the stitching I have to share with you today. My husband and I are about to leave and go to an open house. There's a house that caught our eye on the internet. Of course, I don't know why we're bothering. Someone will buy it today before we get there. Well, we're going to go see it anyway. And then hopefully when I get back, I can get back to some stitching. And I've got a couple of meetings today, Zoom meetings, and we'll have to do those. But otherwise, I'll be stitching. So happy stitching to you. And as soon as I have something else to share with you, I will be back. Hi everyone, hello again, this is Dina, and it is later in the evening on Sunday, the 21st of February, and I wanted to come back and share with you my stitching that I got to do today. I was working on Easter for the end of the month, and I decided to pull out my Mirabilia Gathering Eggs because that is an Easter piece for me. And I was using this for a prompt as well. You had to stitch on something that had a mystery. You have to explain the mystery. So here's my mystery. When I was a little girl, we used to hunt Easter eggs, which she has in her basket. My family would hide some that had surprises in them, like candy, toys, you know, not just chocolate. And then they would always put one out there with about a $5 bill or something for the kids. And everybody wanted that one. It was always a mystery which egg it was going to be in. So I said that she is Easter egg hunting, and she has a mystery. She doesn't know if she has the egg with the money in it or not. So that's how I tied it to the prompt. And when I started on it, I had just a little bit of this green background down to about right here at that flower. So I have filled in all the green background behind her down to the next flower. And I came over here and I picked up and I filled in all the green background. It's kind of a blue-green right there on that side too. So all in all, I did 561 stitches today, all total. And so that one's coming along really, really well. I almost have this one down equal so that I can move on down and start working on the next section of the girl and then fill in behind her again. But it's so pretty. The colors are so much like Easter. Really enjoyed that. I don't have any illusions to finishing this before Easter, but I did enjoy putting some stitches in it today. So now I will decide, as I look at what else I have to do today, whether I am going to stitch on a new Easter piece or whether I'm going to go back to some of my whips that I've been neglecting to do these little smalls this month. And they're starting to call to me. And so I may switch over and intersperse, you know, another whip or two before I go back to any additional Easter stitching. But I certainly will share it with you if I do. You'll be the first to know. I hope you're enjoying February. I hope you're getting a lot of stitching done, whether you're part of the February festivals or not. And I went in today and posted a lot of my finishes that I had forgotten to post. I'm not used to doing hashtags, and so I had to post several today. And you guys have been very kind with your comments, so thank you for that. But I'm going to let you get back to your stitching, and I'm going to get back to mine, and I will talk to you hopefully tomorrow. Happy stitching. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Tina. It is Monday, the 22nd of January, and I'm going to start off this segment today talking a little bit about some planning I've been doing. I want to give you an update on my whip go board first. This is my whip go board, and I have mine color coded, and I'll remind you about that. These blue are ones that have been culled by JC Marie, and they have been completed. And there's only one here that hasn't been. That is the green one. The green stands for like green light. You can get started on it. But I haven't done that one yet. I haven't completed it. So it's green, letting me know I can go ahead with it. These yellow ones, though, are ones I have already met the goal that's listed, but it hasn't been called yet. So those are just hanging in there, waiting to be called, and I'll have those done. So I'm really happy with how that's going. And to make sure that I get to work on the one that is green, which is Block Party Wolf, I've made it, you know, part of my plan is to start it this month, before the end of the month, and that way I can get it going. The other plans I wanted to share with you is something I've never done before. I know many of you probably have, but I've never participated in any kind of March Madness. I know Jen Lee has started that, a year or two ago, maybe even sooner, but she does a March Madness of some type every year. And I decided this year that I enjoyed so much having a special focus for February, doing the February festivals, the Valentine smalls, and then the Easter smalls, that I thought, well, what am I going to do in March? March ought to have something fun too. So I was looking around to see what I wanted to do for March, and I watched the Still City Stitchers talk about their March Madness, and they're going to let people vote on which ones they do and select their winners of each bracket, which I think is fascinating and lovely. But I am really looking to get some stitches in on some of my whips that have been hanging around for a little while. And so I decided to do my March Madness the way that it is set up in Stitch from Stash by Stephanie. So let me tell you how that's going to work for me. There are 8 of my projects here. They are Little Sheep Virtues, Here a Peep, There a Peep, which is a new start, Giggles in the Snow, Christmas Village Ornament, and Mermaid. And then the other 2 are going to be whatever is called for the whip, Whip Go. So I have 2 places in here that just says Whip Go number 1 and Whip Go number 2 for the 2 spots that will be called in March, or the 27th of February for March. And I can go and fill those in at that time. But this is how mine's going to work. The first week of March, I'm going to put 200 stitches in all 8 of these. And I have paired them, 1 with 8, 2 with 7, 3 with 6, and 4 with 5. I just paired the top and the bottom, boom, 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 to make my matches. And that's my first bracket. And I will stitch 200 stitches on all 8 of these. And then I will look at them. I'll look at 1 versus number 8, which is Mermaid and Little Sheep Virtues. And I'll see which one of those I think is closest to a finish. And that is the one I will continue working on out of that for that group, going from 2 to 1. I'll do that in each of these pairings, and that will get me down to 4 whips for week 2. So in week 2, I'm going to do 400 stitches in 4 whips. So I'll pair the top 2 with the 3rd and 4th, or 1 and 4, 2 and 3, however I want to do it. But the bottom line is that'll make my next brackets, or those pairings. So when I finish week 3, I'm going to look at them again. And for each pair, I'll take out the one that's closest to a finish, and that'll get me down to 2. So week 3, I will do 2 whips, and I'll do 600 stitches in those 2 whips sometime in that week. And then by the end of that week, I will look at the 2 that I've worked on, and the one that's closest to a finish is the one I'll take for week 4. And in week 4, my goal is 800 stitches in that whip. So if you can tell, what's happening is the ones that are closest to a finish get pushed even further to a finish. And of course, the hope is that you might actually get a finish during March Madness, which will be fun. So I encourage you to join in your own way, whether you do yours a little differently or what, but I'm going to be tracking mine, and I'll be sharing it with you as I go through the month of March. So I hope that you'll enjoy seeing some of those pieces. Some of my whip goes are new starts, and some of them are ongoing whips. I'm hoping that I don't wind up having a whip go number called that's one of these I already have on here. If I do, I'll have time to adjust it real quick. So that'll be all right. Well, that's what I wanted to share with you from the planning segment. And then the next thing I want to share with you is going to be a little bit of haul. I went thrifting when we had our friends here, and I got some picture frames. I mentioned that before, and I didn't share them yet. So I wanted to take a pause here and get them out and show you what I came home with. So hold on. Okay, so here's what I was able to find. Went to a thrift store with my friend from California to let her do, hopefully, a little bit of shopping for a souvenir of the area. She didn't find anything she wanted, but I did. I found frames. And the lady that was there working at the shop found out I was a crafter and shared with me that she had recently purchased one of these frames and had made a shadow box out of it and had put old spoons that she had collected for years in it, like a shadow box, and then she had hung it in her kitchen. So she totally understood why I was looking at frames, and she understood I wasn't interested in the picture in them. I wanted the frames. So here's what I picked up at the thrift shop. Now this is one of two. I have a second one that is exactly the same. Isn't that beautiful? Has almost a metallic look to it, but I really, really enjoy it. And I have the second one already broken apart over there. I'm cleaning it. I have a piece that I'm going to be framing in it. I'm pretty excited about that. And then the second frame I want to share with you is another square frame. Sometimes it's hard to find a square, and I really like this one. I think it's lovely. It's not too ornate and fancy, but it's a little better than just a plain black frame for me. So I thought that was really pretty. I got that. Now these two small frames were $1 each. Yes, I said $1. And then I got these two. These are what she called medium sizes, and they're a pair. So I could do a series in these, you know, two of a kind or something, but there's what they look like. So you can see it has mats in it, and it has an inset in there. And then there's the frame. Isn't that lovely? So I have two of these, just alike. So I can do two different things and have them framed just alike. And those were $2 a piece. And then I got some big ones. I haven't measured these yet, but isn't that a pretty frame? Really pretty frame. It's in great shape. Here's how big it is. This will be for one of those big samplers or big projects that you have, you know, that are awkward and expensive to frame. And so I'm excited about having that one to be able to work with. And this is my other big one that I got. Oh my goodness. It's a bit awkward. Here's what the frame looks like. Again, quite lovely, and it's in excellent shape. I think that's so pretty. It actually has three mats in it, which would lend itself actually to a Christmas piece, I think. But here's how tall that is. It is long and skinny. So I need to measure. I've got a Stitcher's alphabet that might look really pretty in here. I need to measure and see what's going to fit, and try to get that glare off of there for you so you can see it a little bit better. But these two large ones were $3. Yeah, I came home with 7 frames total, because one of them is over here being worked on, for $13. What a bargain. So I wanted to remind you guys, anytime you go into a thrift store, go look at the pictures. What I looked for was really neat frames that don't have nicks and scratches on the frame itself. These all have glass in them. I can either use the glass or I can, you know, leave it out. I have taken a frame like this before to Michael's and had my Quiet Please cross stitcher at work frame there. They cut a mat and they pinned it and framed it for me, and I think it was about $16 to $20 to do that. It was worth that for me not to have to sit there and lace it, and to get the mat cut and to have it professionally framed in the back and everything was great. But some of these I'll do myself, and some of them I may have done if I have to have a new mat or that kind of thing. But I just wanted to share that idea with you because I have picked up several of my frames that I have in my craft room right now with something in them from thrift stores. In fact, the last time I did that was when Lisa and her husband visited the last time, And I had picked up, oh, I think about 4 or 5 frames at that thrift store. And I have used all but 2 of them so far. So I was getting low on my frames. I was really happy to find those. Thanks for letting me share them with you, and I hope that gives you some inspiration. And now I'm going to get busy and do some stitching, so I have some stitching to share with you later. Happy stitching, everybody. Hi everyone, I'm back to give you my report of my stitching today. I decided to look at my prompts, my 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic, my whip go board, and see if there wasn't something I needed to be working on in addition to my Easter stuff this month. And there was. On my 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic, the last S in the word, let's see, we're using linen threads is the acrostic I'm doing. And I needed, for the S at the end of threads, I needed to stitch on Santaberry pudding. So I picked this up and I stitched 586 stitches in it, and I was able to cross off that S on that acrostic, and so I have already posted that. And then when I looked at my whip go board, lo and behold, my goal was to stitch an entire band on it, and I stitched almost 2 whole bands today. So I have that yellowed in. If it's not called to the end of the year and I don't have time to stitch a band, I've met the goal. Anyway, I want to show you what I've been doing. I started up here. I had to do this last little snowflake. I had not done that one yet, and I had not done this wording. And then I did the snowflakes below it. That is where buttons are going to go with a little sleigh and 3 little reindeer. They're going to be fit in here. And then I did this entire band as well and did the tree there. So I actually did what I would consider 2 full bands, but definitely a complete band that I could count on my whip go goal. So to give you a reminder, I only have 1 band left. This one right at the bottom. There's the words and the pictures. So that's what I've got coming. So when this gets called on my whip go board, I will either stitch that last band if I have time, or I can consider it already met. So I'm happy about that. My 24 hours of acrostic has 4 letters left for me to finish. Fortunately, a couple of them can be met with my Easter pieces, so I'm going to pick back up on an Easter piece next, and I will meet the acrostic with that, and then I'll look and see if I have a whip that I need to do that's not Easter, and I'll try to do every other letter of the acrostic so that I can meet all of that. And in the meantime, I will show you what I come up with every time I stitch. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you've gotten a lot of stitching in today. I know I have. And I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everyone.
Are you through? Did you want some more water? Drink some more. My goodness, you were.
We're gonna go.